Bonus unit, confusing words. In this unit we have three parts. In the first part, we're going to talk about words which have the same spelling but different pronunciation. In the second part, we will discuss some commonly confused words. As for the third part, we will be talking about some words which have the same pronunciation but a different spelling. Those three parts will represent some of the most confusing aspects of some vocabulary in the English language. Let's start off with words that have the same spelling but a different pronunciation. In other words, we may call them homographs. Starting off with bass and bass. Bass, as you can see in the illustration, is the bass guitar, and bass is a breed of fish. In our examples, we will have both words in one sentence to showcase the difference in pronunciation. My uncle made a bass guitar from the bones of a bass. In a previous bonus unit, we discussed the second example. However, it is worthy of repetition here. The words desert and dessert, desert being a noun and dessert being a verb, or a noun meaning the sweet, tasty things. So in an example we could say, the scared soldier deserted his squad in the desert. Up next we have dove and dove. A dove is a breed of birds, but dove is the past tense of the verb to dive. In an example we could have both, the hungry dove dove in the pond to grab a piece of bread. Up next we have lead as a verb and led as a noun. To lead is to be at the head of a group of people, taking them to a goal or a destination. As for led, it is a kind of metal, represented in the table of elements as PB. Let's take a look at an example. The ambitious leader led his troops to the lead storage. By the way, we should also note that the past tense of the verb to lead is a homophone or sounds exactly like lead, the metallic element. So lead, the past of lead, and lead, the kind of metal. Moving on, we have minute as an adjective and minute as a noun. Minute simply means very small or tiny, and minute is the 60 seconds that we all know. Let's see an example. It takes a professional designer a minute to notice the minute details in a design. Coming up we have Polish and Polish. Polish is the adjective of people who come from Poland or something of a Polish origin. To polish is to make a surface shine. So we could say Polish furniture producers polish their products in Eastern Europe. Next we have to resume and a resume. To resume is to begin again after an interruption, and a resume is a CV. So we could say that the graduates usually resume writing their resumes after the coffee break. Let's look next at tear and to tear. Keep in mind, as you can see, that the spelling is exactly the same, but we have a different pronunciation completely. Tear is a noun meaning a liquid or a drop of liquid coming from the eyes, and to tear is to separate by force. We could say, looking at your tears tears my heart apart. The following pair are wind and wind up. Wind, as you might be familiar with it, is a noun meaning a current of air, and wind up is actually a phrasal verb which means to end up in a place or an unpleasant situation. So we could say, if these winds continue, our ship will wind up on a deserted island in the middle of nowhere. Coming up we have wound and wound. A wound as a noun is an injury. It might be a cut or torn skin. But to wound as a verb, but wound is a verb which is in fact the past of the verb to wind or to rotate something. In a single example, we could say, after he wound his grandpa's clock, he felt a stabbing pain in his wound, and he wound up in the hospital. The final pair from this part are estimate and to estimate. An estimate is an approximate calculation. To estimate is to roughly calculate. So there is a relation in meaning and a whole difference in pronunciation. Keep in mind that the spelling remains exactly the same as well. In an example, we could say, don't forget to send the estimate to the manager after you estimate the damage. Part 2 of this lesson will focus on commonly confused words. These are words which have a connection in meaning, but might be different in function and should be used carefully. The first example we have is the verb to affect and the noun effect. To affect is to act on or produce a change in something or someone. An effect is a result or consequence. We could say then, the construction noise had a negative effect on my concentration and affected my mood. Our second example is the pair allowed and allowed. Allowed is the past participle of the verb to allow, which means permitted or given permission to do something. Allowed is an adjective meaning spoken at an audible volume. We could say then, during the presentation, the speaker allowed the audience to ask questions aloud. In some examples, we will have triple or more words, like in this one. We have a verb, adjective, and noun. Let's take a look at close and close to begin with. Close, or to close, is a verb meaning to bring together parts of something or to shut or fasten something. Close, on the other hand, is an adjective meaning near in space or time or not far in amount or degree. Clothes, however, in the noun form, means the thing that we wear, pants, shirts, t-shirts, and so on. In a singular example, we could say, my close friend and I closed the door and started online shopping for clothes. Up next we have to break or a break. To break is a verb which means to ruin something. Plus, of course, it has many other meanings, but let's focus on this one for the purpose of this unit. A brake, on the other hand, is a device used to slow or stop a moving vehicle. Let's take a look at them in one example. I had to slam on the brake to avoid a collision when the car in front of me suddenly decided to break the traffic rules by running a red light. Let's give our attention now to the next example. Suit and suite. Both of them are nouns, but they can be easily confused. A suit is a three-piece matching clothes for men, but a suite is a set of rooms designated for a specific purpose. So we could say, I left my suit in the suite. Up next we have quiet and quite. Quiet as an adjective means making little or no noise, or calm and peaceful. Quite, on the other hand, is a quantifier, which means to a significant degree or to emphasize something. Here's an example. I enjoy spending time in the park because it's always quite peaceful and quiet there. Coming up, let's take a look at another group of words this time. Whole, whole, and whole. The first word, whole, as an adjective, means complete or not divided. A whole, as a noun, H-A-L-L, means the area just inside the main entrance of a house, or another meaning is a building used for meetings, concerts, or other events. The other noun, H-O-L-E, whole, is an empty space in an object. I fell in the hole, and spent the whole day trying to get out. Up next we have ensure and insure. To ensure is to make sure that something happens or is certain. To insure is to protect against loss or damage by purchasing insurance. We could say then, you should ensure that you have the necessary insurance coverage before you start driving a car. Following that, we have farther and further. Farther and further are both adjectives, but farther means a physical distance beyond something, whereas further is a degree or extent beyond something or additional. In one example, we could say, I need to walk further to reach the farther end of the park. The final example of the confused words is loose, adjective, and to lose, verb. Loose means tightly fitted or bound, or free from constraints. To lose, as you probably know, is to be deprived of or unable to find something, as well as the opposite of win. In one example, we could say, these loose jeans are going to make me lose my patience. The third and final part of this unit will have us looking at some examples of words which have the same pronunciation but a different spelling. In other words, homophones. The first example will be principle and principle. There will be no difference, as I said, in pronunciation with these words. However, the function and meaning will change. Principle on the left side is a fundamental truth or rule, or a personal rule or value. A principal, as we see on the right side, is the most important or senior person in an organization or group. So we could say, the principal of the school firmly believed in the principle of equality for all students. Our second example will be bowl and bowl. As you can see in the illustrations, bowl on the left, B-A-L-L, is the round object filled with air which can be used to play different sports. But on the right side, B-O-W-L, is also a spherical object, but it could be used either to have soup or cereal in it, or it's the little structure where fish can live. In an example, we could say, when Marco was playing football, he kicked the ball and broke his mom's favorite bowl. Alright, up next we have to wait and wait. To wait as a verb and wait as a noun. Let's take a look at an example. I can't wait to lose some weight before my vacation. Following that, we have to wear and wear, both clearly explained in the illustrations we have here. In an example, we could say, I don't know where to wear my new dress. Please notice that the spelling is different, but the pronunciation is identical. Where to wear. Moving on, we have a triple word example here of rain, rain, and you guessed it, rain. The first rain is the water that drops from the sky. The second rain is a tool used to control a horse. And the third reign is a period of rule. In an example, we could say, the queen's reign was marked by a period of heavy rain that ruined all the horses' reins. Coming up, we have won, the past tense of to win, and one, the number. So in an example, we could say, a Chinese man named Wan was the only one who won all the competitions. Up next we have heir and heir. We are all familiar with the heir on the left, but the heir on the right is a person legally entitled to the property or rank of another after their death. For example, the heir of a king is a prince. So we could say, the prince was the heir to the throne, but he struggled to breathe the polluted air of the Hall of Kings. Next we have aisle, A-I-S-L-E, meaning a passage between rows of seats in a building or vehicle. And on the right side we have isle, I-S-L-E, meaning an island, specifically the Isle of Man. So we could say, we walked down the aisle of the airplane to get to our seat on our trip to the Isle of Man. The following couple of words will be ant and ant. It's important to remember that our focus is still on the American pronunciation because the word on the right might be pronounced as aunt in the British accent. On the left, an ant is a small six-legged insect, but an aunt or an aunt is a woman who is the sister of one's parent or married to one's uncle. So we could say in an example, my aunt saw an ant crawling on the kitchen counter and crushed it with a napkin. Coming up, we have complement and to complement. A complement is something that completes or makes up a whole. A compliment, as we see on the right side, C-O-M-P-L-I-M-E-N-T, would mean an expression of praise or admiration. So we could say, the red scarf complemented her outfit perfectly, and she received many compliments on her style. Next, we have plain as an adjective or as a noun. P-L-A-I-N means simple or easy. As a noun, it means a field. On the right side, P-L-A-N-E is a big aircraft which carries passengers or cargo. In a single example, we could say, the plain white plane flew over the green plains. Let's follow that with coarse and coarse. Coarse as an adjective, C-O-A-R-S-E, is rough or harsh in texture or sound. A course on the right side is a direction or path of movement or a series of lessons or instructions, like this one. So we could say, I signed up for a cooking course to learn how to prepare coarse ingredients properly. Coming up, let's look at stationary and stationary. Stationary in an adjective form means not moving, fixed, or static. Stationary in the noun form means writing materials such as paper and pens. In a single example, we could say, I bought some new stationery from the bookstore, including pens, paper, and envelopes, but I forgot to pick up a new stationary bike for my home gym. Alrighty then. Next we have capital and capital. Capital, as we see it on the left, C-A-P-I-T-A-L, means the main city of a country, or wealth or assets owned by a person or business. As for capital, like we see it on the right side, C-A-P-I-T-O-L, it is the building where politicians work. In a single example, we could say, I visited the capital city and took a tour of the Capitol building to learn more about the country's government and history. To finish with this part, and the unit as a whole, we have pique, peak, and peak. Pique as a noun, P-I-Q-U-E, means to stimulate interest, curiosity, or resentment in someone. Peek as a verb, P-E-E-K, means to take a quick look or furtive look. Another noun which is pronounced as peak is P-E-A-K, which means the highest point or level of something. In one example, we could say, she heard that Radiohead will be performing at the peak of the mountain, so she decided to take a peek at their website to see if it was true. The band has always piqued her interest. For those of you who are interested in a more detailed inspection of homophones, there is a list including 97 homophones in the PDF document attached to the unit. Well then, that's a wrap for this chapter. Keep practicing and keep your eyes on the prize until you reach your goals. Send us your pronunciation of the examples that you find specifically difficult throughout this unit to our Telegram channel. Leo and I will give you feedback on how to improve or congratulate you on your great work. On to the next one.